Good afternoon. I'm Delegate Maggie McIntosh, Chair of the Appropriations Committee in the Maryland General Assembly. Today, we're going to have a number of bills that we're voting on. This is our voting list number 11, and today is March 16th. Happy St. Patrick's Day to everyone who's watching. The bills that we have on our voting list today are House Bill 15, House Bill 894, House Bill 944, House Bill 63, and House Bill 703. I might, and we also have House Bill 1, which is a concurrence. House Bill 1 is our HBCU bill. Again, we passed the Senate version of that as amended, and this is just simply to conform the House bill to the Senate bill. So why don't we take that up first, okay? Since it's a bill that we've been dealing with literally since the beginning of our session this year. House Bill 1, as you know, is the Historically Black Colleges and University funding bill to settle the court case. This bill is sponsored by the Speaker of the House, and I would move favorable. I move to concur on House Bill 1.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Is there anyone opposed? Please raise your hand on the board so we can see. Okay, we have Delegate Grice, Delegate Novotny, and Delegate Mangione. If that's correct, all right, we will move to the next bill. House Bill 15, Delegate Haynes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good afternoon, members of Appropriations. House Bill 15 is entitled the Governor's Office of Immigrant Affairs. The bill establishes the Governor's Office of Immigrant Affairs to assist immigrants in the state of Maryland. The bill establishes the appointment, powers, duties, and responsibilities of both the office and the office director. Both will be appointed by the governor and provide a report to the office of the General Assembly each year. The bill was heard by the Public Safety and Administration Subcommittee. It passed out unanimously with no amendments. Move the bill, Madam Chair.
Okay, very good. Are there any questions of the subcommittee chair on the bill? All right. Delegate Beitzel, you have a question?
Yeah, does this have administration support?
If I could interject.
Hold on one second. Let me refer to committee counsel to see whether or not we had any support from the administration in the main hearing on this bill, full committee hearing.
Yes.
Mr. Weaver?
Yeah, there was no position taken, but in speaking to the fiscal note writer, he did let me know that as he was researching the bill, he did speak to people in the office, and they noted that the different commissions that they have that assist immigrants would be willing, as per the bill language, to assist in any way possible if the bill ever got passed.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Weaver.
Okay. Okay, does that answer your question, Delegate?
Yes, it does. Thank you, Madam Chair.
You're very welcome. All right. House Bill 15. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, please raise your hand. Delegate Mangione, Delegate Novotny, Delegate Grice. Is that correct? Thank you very much. House Bill 894. Delegate Young, Personnel Subcommittee.
Thank you, Madam Chair. HB 894, if you all remember, and folks have been around for a while, this is the Education Community College Collective Bargaining Bill. Delegate Keith Haynes. The bill establishes a collective bargaining process for local community colleges. There were multiple amendments. Amendment number 1 is technical. Amendment number 2 establishes delayed implementation for 2 groups. For larger community colleges, the effective date is September 1st, 2022. For smaller community colleges, the effective date is September 2023. It also reduces bargaining units from 6 to 4. The result is 1 for full-time faculty, 1 for part-time faculty, and 2 for non-exempt faculty. And lastly, the negotiation of wages is also delayed with the delayed implementation for the larger and smaller colleges. Amendment number 3 establishes an appropriation for Baltimore City Community College to cover any additional costs arising from collective bargaining negotiations. And amendment number 4 requires the adoption of regulations that are consistent with collective bargaining law under the state personnel and pensions article. This also establishes a delayed effective date for Baltimore City Community Colleges to October 1st, 2024. Move the amendments.
Okay, on the amendments. Questions of the subcommittee chair on the amendments? Yes, Delegate Beitzel. Whoops, you're on mute.
Oh, excuse me. I was
That's
off.
okay.
All right. On the amendment on Baltimore City College, there was something you mentioned about providing additional monies for cost of implementing it. Could you
Sure.
further explain that amendment?
Since Baltimore City Community Colleges currently managed, kind of run, operated by the state, then it just clarifies and guarantees that anything related to negotiations and costs that are incurred through negotiations will be covered by the state. So it's clarifying in the bill related to their uniqueness as a community college that doesn't necessarily have local control.
Yeah, I might add, Delegate Beitzel, BCCC, you know how we just restored all the CADE money under the CADE formula? They get none of that. They get none of it, okay? When we approve the capital program for the community colleges, they get none of that. So this was clarifying language just to make sure that if there is, and by the way, we delayed that BCCC ability to even negotiate for an additional year because, as you know, Delegate Beitzel, they are going through really a complete remake because we asked them to look at everything from their IT, their procurement, their associate, you know, we had that 12 items that we asked them to do. And they're in the process of working through those, and we wanted to give them an extra year, just like the smaller community colleges. But that's the reason there's a difference, because they're not part of the CADE formula. Okay.
Isn't this kind of an admission that this action is going to cost these community colleges more money? Which in the end, if you look at the mission of the community colleges, and as legislators, I think we all require and expect our administrators and everybody to do the best job possible, including the faculty, to teach our kids. But this seems to be one of those things we do that creates where the weakest link ends up controlling the final outcome. So that's just my comment on that. So thank you, Madam Chair.
You're welcome. All right, on the amendments, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay. Delegate McKay opposed to the amendments? Okay. Fine. All right. On the bill as amended.
Move favorable.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Those opposed, please raise your hand. Thank you. I have, and I just want to make sure, Metzger, Beitzel, Grice, Novotny, Mangione, and McKay. Am I correct? Okay, very good. Thank you very much. And I do thank you to the
Thank you.
committee for all the work you did on that bill.
Thank you.
We passed this bill a couple of years So I think this bill is a much better bill. And we've had much more discussion with the Community College Association. We've given more time for small community colleges. And I think it's a better bill. All
Madam
right.
Chair,
Yes?
uh, um, can I have a quick moment of personal,
Yeah, and make it quick.
okay, very quick. I just wanted to thank you as chair of the committee and the committee members in moving this bill. We all know this has been around for about 7 years. We've been trying to move this, and this is a good product in comparison to the other bills that you mentioned earlier. And I just wanted to personally say thank you so much to the committee and your leadership, Madam Chair.
You're welcome, always. Delegate Solomon's bill, House Bill 944. Delegate Solomon.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We are jointly assigned the Ways and Means Committee as primary. This is a bill that would build off of a program started in Montgomery County to essentially help nurture and grow the family childcare community. They identify individuals who are interested in opening family childcare providers, provide mentorship, support, startup assistance, and help them grow businesses. In the 2 years that Montgomery County has had this program, they've been able to create 52 new family childcare providers with about 350 new childcare seats, and the bulk of those providers have been in our highest poverty zip codes. So this would take that program and hopefully replicate it with three additional jurisdictions around the state. I believe it passed unanimously out of the Ways and Means Committee.
Good, very good. Very good. And thank you for all the work you do in the area of childcare. We're glad that you finally had a child, by the way, so we can understand your interest. Leo's in good hands. All right. This passed out of Ways and Means unanimously. Oops, I got a couple of questions. Delegate Grist.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Sure.
I asked this question earlier. So I guess the assistance that these folks are getting, is there some sort of requirement that they have to be in business for a certain amount of time, or can they just take the money and then after, I don't know, a couple months, they say, well, this isn't really working for me? Because I know that it's a profession that's very difficult, and there's a lot of turnover, these private childcare places. And I was just wondering if there is some sort of requirement for continuity.
So I don't believe that there's a specific requirement for an amount of time, but the whole point of the program is really to make sure that they don't go out of business. So, for example, in Montgomery County, they partner with the Women's Business Center and the Chamber of Commerce and provide sort of ongoing coaching and, back-end assistance. Obviously, a lot of these folks are, really knowledgeable on the childcare side, but not necessarily on the business. So it provides sort of ongoing, I think actually they have biweekly classes. They provide them with a mentor, but there is no official requirement. And I will say, the sum of money that it's not like they're getting, a huge sum of money. It's, help maybe with some materials and sort of ongoing professional development.
Well, and also too, don't these providers also have to take continuing education, and generally they take theirs through community colleges?
Yeah, and this is actually specifically helping them get through those programs earlier.
Okay, so is this too quicker or not? I guess that's my question, with what they're already doing and what they're required to do.
You cut out for the first part, Delegate Grice.
I'm just asking if this is duplicative or not, because there are those requirements that they have to get this training now. Through MSDE. So will this be duplicative of that?
No, and so actually the program in Montgomery County is run through the Child Care Resource Centers, which are MSDE essentially shared entities. And so this grant program would be run through the Child Care Center. And I don't have the numbers exactly in front of me, but this has actually been able to accelerate the amount of time to get the centers up and running as well. So it's helping sort of streamline the process for folks who are, who may not have sort of the business acumen, and may not be as well versed in the system, but really want to open and have the sort of the education side of things and helping them get through that process to get up and running.
So we have to have a program in order to help people navigate through the bureaucracy. Thank you.
Not exactly, but we can talk offline.
Delegate Beitzel.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think you mentioned that there's 3 other jurisdictions participating in this. It appears from the fiscal note, it's a statewide type of a bill. Is this apply statewide? And is there any opportunity for other jurisdictions to participate in this?
Yeah, so actually, the whole point of this bill is to essentially, again, this is a program that started in Montgomery County with county resources, and so what we wanted to do was we thought this was a really good model, and so Montgomery County actually, theoretically, there's an opportunity if for some reason MSDE could not, find other jurisdictions. I guess Montgomery County could theoretically apply to expand theirs, but the whole point of this is to open essentially new programs to show that this works statewide. So I think Ways and Means tweaked the language a little bit, but our original draft of the bill was the intent is that MSDE pick jurisdictions that are diverse and representative of the state. So a rural childcare licensing region, an urban area, and a suburban area as well.
There is a substantial fiscal note on it for a couple of years, but I noticed it appears it sunsets in fiscal 2024. Is that correct?
Yeah, so the fiscal note is it's $450,000 a year. So the total budget of the program in Montgomery County is about $300,000. So the idea would be that the state would offer 3 grants of up to $150,000. That would have to be matched by the consortium, either the county or the counties, because we know in some rural areas the licensing region encompasses multiple counties, and that could be covered. The matching could be covered through in-kind contributions or philanthropic contributions. We don't want to put this in perpetuity. I'm hopeful. We've been working really closely with the Maryland Family Network, which works with MSDE on those child care resource centers. Our hope is that this is really effective, like it's been in Montgomery County, and maybe we can come back and look at making this permanent or expanding it, but we didn't want to write that in. The other thing I'll point out is, the state's in the process of receiving about $500 million in child care money from the federal government, and there's nothing that would preclude, a very small percentage of the federal money being used to expand this program. And finally, family child care has been probably the hardest hit of any sector within childcare from the pandemic. So,
yeah, and Madam Chair, if another follow up, if you don't mind.
That's all right.
Since Kerwin is obviously moving forward, and is this an area in some item or some provision in the Kerwin bill that could be funded or made kind of a permanent thing, funded through Kerwin without mandating additional money for this purpose?
So this is really a separate area. I mean, so there is some overlap with Kerwin in the sense of, Kerwin expands preschool and pre-K for 3 and 4-year-olds. But, most family childcare businesses honestly work with kids much younger than that. So we're trying to identify a need, that we have across the state that's separate from Kerwin.
All right. Thank you, Madam Chair.
You're very welcome. Delegate Krim.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I want to point out to the committee that this bill is fully supportive of the Women's Caucus. I'm president of the Women's Caucus. We have a bipartisan legislative review, and it's also passed in our full caucus in a bipartisan manner. And I want to thank Delegate Solomon for bringing that to us so we can do that rigorous review. Thank you, Madam Chair.
You're welcome. Delegate Mangione.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And this is just a general question, just so I understand better, because I was reading it said MSDE is establishing a $60 million grant program. This is from the Coronavirus Response and Relief Supplemental Appropriation Act. How long can they use that $60 million? Because I guess this goes for next, the sunset in 2025. Is that what it was?
Yeah, so that's a separate pot of money. So the $60 million grant program that you're referencing was a result from the federal money that was passed at the end of December in the consolidated appropriations bill that the feds passed, and that's a provider recovery grant for providers who are open or recently closed because of COVID. I believe that MSDE closed the application process for that grant, I think a couple of weeks ago on March 3rd. So they're in the process of getting that money out. The money that I referenced is in the American Rescue Package that was signed into law by President Biden last week. the state is slated to get another 500 million. So they're different pots of money. This program is again meant to create new family childcare providers. It's not doesn't work with existing providers, except for the sense that they may be mentors to new businesses starting up.
Delegate Solomon, if I may, Delegate Solomon, the 500 million you reference out of the new pot of money is for childcare.
Correct.
And to answer your question, that pot of money, which is going to be coming to our state, can be used over a period of FY 22, 23, and 24.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, I think that's all the questions. Thank you, Delegate Solomon. You read the amendments? We adopted the amendments on the bill. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Please raise your hand. Okay. The bill passes. Thank you very much. We now have two bills that are, have come out as unfavorable. And I will read them off. House Bill 63, going once, going twice, gone. And House Bill 703, going once, going twice, gone. And the committee, I will remind you, that if you want to vote on any bill that is before us that's unfavorable, you can, raise your hand and make an opposite motion.
Madam Chair.
This concludes the bill hearing
Madam
for
Chair.
today.
Madam Chair, before we conclude, on House Bill 63, can I be recorded in the no?
And the no.
It's a maglev.
We all, how are we recorded on that?
Yeah, she can be recorded in the no if you want to allow that she doesn't agree with the unfavorable report.
You like maglev?
I don't.
Oh, I think, this is,
I don't like putting state money
Prohibition.
towards it at this point.
all right. You can be recorded and
And I have a large constituency that follows it. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Yeah, very interesting. All right.
Madam Chair.
This concludes a bill. This concludes the bill hearing. I will see you on the floor, and thank you all again very much for making and putting together for the citizens of Maryland a great budget. Okay? Have a great day.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thanks for your leadership.